All right, another week has gone by. It is April 14th, 2025, and this is Anabolic Academy. You can only find Anabolic Academy on Serious and Silliness Bodybuilding. That is on YouTube, Rumble, Apple iTunes, and Spotify. And I actually just got some pretty good news. I actually found out that I get an update every week of how many downloads from Apple, iTunes, and Spotify. And I have this week I had over 1,100 downloads, which is significant for my podcast. I'm sure for other podcasts it's not that bad, but that's significant for me. So it's kind of a milestone. So I'm very proud of that. But Anabolic Academy, what is it? You ask me questions about bodybuilding or fitness or whatever you'd like to ask me. It could be anything at all, but primarily bodybuilding and fitness. You ask me, I answer it right here on Anabolic Academy. I give you a shout out no matter how you reach me, unless you tell me you want to stay anonymous, which has happened in the past. And I answer them. I answer the questions. So how can you reach me? Instagram, Serious and Silliness. TikTok, John Livia. Facebook, John Livia. My email, John_Livia at Yahoo. Or my other email, UncleJohn1201 at Gmail. Or if you see me in person. Now, before we get to the questions, if you haven't seen the live feed I just did with Lee, hilarious. We had a great time. We talked about stuff that we dislike in the gym, and then of course Lee has ADHD, so we talked about a whole bunch of other topics as well. It was hilarious. He had me really laughing. It was really funny. Go watch it. It's just, just me and Lee, but it's hilarious. It's just funny. It's just good chemistry. Put it that way. It's really funny. Go and check it out. Now, I also have Mel Chansey coming on. We'll be recording Thursday evening. Mel Chansey used to be the leader of the Chicago chapter of the Hells Angels, but he was a huge bodybuilding guy. If you ever see pictures of him in his heyday, like back in the 90s, he was a monster. And he always loved bodybuilding. And he actually is a promoter. He actually has a bodybuilding show that he puts on every year. So he's going to be coming on this bodybuilding channel and we will be talking bodybuilding. It will most likely be aired this coming Friday because I try to have the videos out the next day after I record them. So I'm super excited for that because Mel Chansey is an icon in the biker world and an icon in the bodybuilding world. Super, super excited for that. Okay. What else do we have? Do we have anything else coming up? I'm trying to think. As of right now, that's it. But Anabolic Academy, we got to get to the questions. We have 4 questions. So let's see. What are the questions? Let's start. All our questions come from Instagram this week. So, Collie_baby, COLLY_baby. How much Anadrol is too much? In my experience, anything over 50 milligrams is too much. Once I've gotten to 100 milligrams, I didn't see any more results. And my appetite would just die. I would have no appetite. It would literally almost make me sick if I wanted to eat. It was like, it was, I didn't even want to eat. It was horrible. 50 milligrams of Anadrol per day seems to be fine. Anytime I did more than that, I didn't see better results, and the side effects just were worse. And the major side effects was killed my appetite. So 50 milligrams seems to be fine. To be honest with you, if you are thinking of using Anadrol, 6 weeks tops. Don't go past that. 6 weeks on top of, a testosterone and maybe, an EQ or a DECA or something like that. Okay. And then pull out the orals. And then you could continue the test and anabolic for another 2 weeks, do an 8 week cycle. That's fine. But yeah, 50 milligrams Anadrol. So the truth of the matter is 50 milligrams any oral is my experience. D-bol, Tyrannabol, The only one that I could see going more than 50 is Anavar. I was never a big Anavar user. I think I've used it once and I got decent results, but I'm pretty sure I was using 100 milligrams. But the strong stuff like D-bol, Anadrol, Turinabol, 50 milligrams tops a day, and you should be good. Okay. Next question from Billy Del Russo. Billy Del Russo. Billy Del Russo, if you haven't heard, Billy Del Russo is a guy who does women's hair. He's a hair, he's not a barber. You don't go to him for men's hair. You go to him for ladies' hair. He does like blowouts and perms and whatever the fuck they do. I don't know. But here's the kicker. He's not a homosexual. Billy Del Russo is a heterosexual hairdresser. I don't know how it happens, but it happens. His question is creatine every day or only on training days? Every day. If you're going to utilize creatine, if you want creatine in your supplement consumption, then every day. Because it's not something that kind of stays in your system. Um, you know, they come pre-flavored. You could literally just drink it in the morning and be on your way. It's not like, or you could put it in, or you could put the unflavored one in your shake after you train, something like that. But yeah, you could use it every day. There's no real down reason not to. It is a proven supplement that does help uh, in bodybuilding and building muscle. I've used it a million different times. I never saw really much of it. So with me, if I don't see if something is supposed to help me gain results and I don't see it, I don't spend the money on it. So like things like vitamins and minerals and protein shakes, okay, that's a given. All right. If I try a pre-workout and it doesn't give me energy for the gym, I'm not using that pre-workout. If I try a creatine and I don't see any additional muscle in a month or 6 weeks or a difference in my strength, I'm not using it anymore. But there are people that swear by it and absolutely love creatine, and it is a proven supplement. It just never really did much for me. But yes, every day. Okay. Next question from Fran is the man. Most memorable podcast interview you ever did. Um, okay, well on my channel. All right, so okay, on my channel, the bodybuilding channel, on the bodybuilding channel, I was most excited for the guys that I looked up to when I was bodybuilding in the 90s, in the late 90s when I was really into it in my 20s. So I was very excited to interview Dave Palumbo. I was very excited to interview the first time I interviewed Jason Arns. This was before we were friends. Obviously, we got friendly from through the podcast. I was very excited to interview Vinny Galante because those three names were the big names in the tri-state area in the late 90s in the bodybuilding scene. Because they were like nearby. They were in New York, they were in New Jersey. They would come to the gyms. It was like, wow, you know. Now, don't get me wrong. So those are the most exciting for me. Now, obviously, once I got Branch Warren and Jay Cutler, that was like that kind of proved to me that wow, I at this point I could pretty much interview any bodybuilder, and I like sky's the limit. Once I got Jay Cutler, I was like, well, if I can get Jay Cutler, I can get anybody, right? I mean, he's like Jay Cutler, right? On my other channel, the most memorable interview on my other channel was when I interviewed Run DMC. It was actually uh, DMC, Daryl. And if you actually go back and watch it, it was like from 4 or 5 years ago. If you go back and watch it, you don't see, you know how I always talk on my hands? You don't see my hands. The reason why you don't see my hands is because my hands are sweating so bad because I was so nervous because it was my first major interview that they're underneath the desk. So my hands were sweating that bad. So that was very memorable for me because that was my first really big interview. I mean, you're talking hip hop royalty, and it was a great interview. And what was great about it is I was nervous, but DMC Daryl likes to talk, so I didn't really have to do much. I would throw out a question, and he would just and he would answer the other questions that I've had written down just by getting into the question I sent him. So it really was a good interview. Tom Sizemore too. When I got to interview Tom Sizemore, that was kind of sad and exciting at the same time because when he agreed to come on, I had to pay him, which was fine. For me, I don't really pay people to come on. I have paid people, but to him, it was worth it because he was like, this great Hollywood actor during the time of probably the peak of Hollywood in the 90s into the early 2000s. If those of you who don't know who Tom Sizemore is, he was in great movies like Saving Private Ryan, like he was in True Romance, like Natural Born Killers, like Heat. Um, it was a tremendous actor, but it was sad because when I was interviewing him, he had claimed that he was clean and sober, and you could clearly see he was not clean and sober. Of course, I just went with the narrative, and I was like, "Oh, I'm glad you're clean and sober." We could clearly see he was not clean and sober. He had a drug problem for a very long time, and he died soon after that interview. I'm pretty sure I have the last Tom Sizemore interview before he passed. I'm pretty sure. Okay, next question, and I believe the last question from Fran is the man. If Andrew Jack reached his full potential, do you think he could be better than Samson Ohadi and Derek? Okay, here's the thing. My personal opinion, I think Andrew Jack has reached his full potential. I think that in order for him to break into the top five, too much has to be adjusted. He would need more hamstrings. He would need more back. He would need more lower back. He would need more detail in his hamstrings and his glutes and lower back. And he would have to put on another 10 pounds of muscle. Very few people could do what Samson did. I know there's like a 2 or 3 inch difference between Samson and Andrew Jack. But Samson was kind of on. Very few people could do what Samson did. Samson, I think, is 6 foot tall or 6'1" or something like that. I think he's about 6 foot. I might be wrong. And he filled out that frame of so much muscle. It was amazing. And you got to give credit where credit is due. He was working on Milos, and Milos was able to fill out that frame, help him fill out that frame. And then he went on to become, Honor Classic champion and Mr. Olympia. I don't think Andrew Jack is going to be able to do that because if he was able to do that, he would have did it already. So in my estimation, Andrew Jack has filled his full potential. I think this is the best Andrew Jack we are going to see. He might be a little tighter, he might be a little harder, but I don't think we are going to see another 10, 15 pounds with hanging hamstrings and, lower back definition and striation. I don't think we're going to see that. I just don't think we're going to see that. It's very difficult for that guy for a person that height. I think he's 6'3". He's a big boy. He's a big boy. Um, it's very difficult to fill out that frame to be a top 5 bodybuilder in the world because now you're going up against guys like Nick Walker, who's like 5'8", 5'9". He's fucking 300 pounds. Derek, who's what, 5'6". Samson's 6 foot tall, but he filled out that frame. Hottie, who's like around the same height as Derek, 5'6". These guys are, because their muscle structure is so much shorter, denser, it just gives it so much more of a rounder, bigger look. like I said, the guys like Samson will come around once in a life. You don't really see guys that tall fill out that frame like Samson. And believe me, Samson kind of gave it like the idea like, oh, look, I did it. Anybody could do it. So I was waiting for Andrew to pull the Samson, like within a year, 2 years, put on that 20, 25 pounds of muscle. But it's just not that easy for guys that tall. And I'm going to say it again. And I'm going to get shitted on. Andrew Jack has fulfilled his full potential. This is the best Andrew Jack you're going to get. Like I said, you might get a little bit more harder, a little more definition, a little bit more muscle separation. But to break into that top 5 in the Olympia or top 4 or top 3, it's too much to ask for that guy. Okay. It is what it is. He is a tremendous bodybuilder. Okay. Tremendous bodybuilder. He could possibly win an Arnold Classic because we have seen Arnold Classics that were a little weaker, where you don't see Mr. Olympia competitors in it. Like only in the last like 2 to 3 years have you seen Derek Hottie Sampson. Most of the time you don't see those guys in there. So it's a possibility you can win an Arnold Classic. To win the Olympia, I doubt it. All right, listen up. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I want to know what you think to the answers of these questions. Go back and watch that live feed I just did with Lee Priest. It's hilarious. Mel Chancey, I will be interviewing. Don't forget to tune in, and I will see you guys soon. Love and respect all of you. Later. Peace.